Okay, thank you, Dolores. Thanks for having me. I always say, Dolores, I have the easy job. All I got to do is show up. I apologize for being a little bit late here. But you have the hard job, Dolores, getting this together. So I want to thank you again for contacting me, for giving me this opportunity. Again, I've been here on a couple occasions, giving seminars on Social Security and Medicare, and thank you again for having me. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's a pleasure being here. Dolores gave you all the introduction. One thing I just want to point out, Dolores, please do not call me Mr. Zurndorfer. That was my father. Just call me Ed. I also want to add something to my background that Dolores did not mention. I'm a retiree of the federal government. I worked 32 years for the federal government under the old system, CSRS. So I am well aware of the windfall elimination provision, the WEP, W-E-P, which may affect several of you, and the government pension offset, which I will be talking about today. And I'm also 68 years old. I have not taken my Social Security for reasons I want to get into. One of the reasons is because of the WEP, because I'm waiting to take it to offset some of the effects of the WEP. The way I run the seminar is very simple. This is not my seminar, this is your seminar. There's no such thing as a dumb question, so please stop me if any time you have a question, you need for me to repeat something, let me know. If you want to disagree with me, that's fine. This is an open forum. I'm speaking to you, not to the windows here. You should have access, you should get copies of the PowerPoint slides. If not, they'll be available somewhere, but again, you will have access, and that's what I use here. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started. I guess it's the clicker. Working. I guess I'll use this. All right. Most people, when they think about Social Security, what do they think about? What comes to mind when you hear the word Social Security? What comes to mind? Retirement? That's good to know, because a lot of times when I ask that question, when I give seminars to federal employees, they say, old. It's not going to be there. Well, I want to clear up some misunderstandings about Social Security. First of all, Social Security is not the retirement system. It was never designed to be. It's there to supplement your other sources of retirement income. Never designed. Unfortunately, most Americans don't realize that. They think they can get by when they retire with just they retire on just Social Security income. Social Security, on average, will replace about 25 to 45% of your pre-retirement Social Security earnings. Pre-retirement wages, I should say. When you retire, usually you're earning your highest wages of your working career, and Social Security should replace anywhere from 25 to 45% of your final gross wages, with retirement benefits. Now that's a pretty big range, isn't it? 25 to 45%? And the way Social Security calculates the benefit, the low wage earners, the ones who have a lower wages on the lower scale, let's say on average they're below $40,000, they will get a replacement of closer to 45%. And the high wage earners, let's say those who are over $80,000 to $90,000 when they retire, will get a replacement of 25%. Now, does that make sense? Why should the low wage earners get a higher replacement than the high wage earners? They couldn't save money on their low wages. They didn't have access to a retirement plan? Generally speaking, don't most people who are earning higher wages have access to have access to a retirement plan, a 401k plan, the thrift savings plan, which federal employees have? Okay, if they're lucky, they'll be covered by a defined benefit plan like CSRS or FERS, right? Low wage earners generally have to use every available penny to pay their bills. They don't put money into IRAs like they should. They don't save in general. So again, Social Security there is necessary for these individuals to replace their income, more of their income, in order to pay their bills in retirement. Whereas the high wage earner is saving more, has more opportunity to save for retirement. Also a misconception is, and I want to ask the question about what comes to mind about Social Security, old. Waiting on the porch in the rocking chair for the Social Security check to come. Well, do you have to be old and gray to receive Social Security benefits? Look what's below, look at this below the word retirement, the word disability. Do you have to be old and gray to get Social Security disability? I know of people who were, let's say, younger, in their 20s, they're totally disabled and receiving Social Security disability payments. And that will go on for most of their lives until they reach their full retirement age. Survivor benefits. I always ask the question when it comes to the federal retirement, because I teach both CSRS and I teach FERS retirement. When it comes to a CSRS annuity or a FERS annuity, how many individuals can receive a survivor annuity? A survivor annuity means upon the death of the annuitant, a family member, spouse, or someone who has an insurable interest in that annuitant, in that deceased annuitant, will receive as much as 55% of what the annuitant was receiving at the time of his or her death. So how many individuals can receive that survivor annuity? One. And the annuitant has to pay for it. When you are a CSRS annuitant or a FERS annuitant and you elect to give a survivor annuity to an eligible family member, you have to pay for it. There's going to be a reduction in your annuity in order to give a survivor annuity to that one person. Well, Social Security has survivor benefits. But unlike the CSRS and FERS survivor benefits, multiple family members can receive survivor benefits. Multiple. Who are multiple family members? A spouse. The widow benefit. Okay? A child under the age of 18. Here, have a situation. A parent passes away, has a young family, children under the age of 18. And here the parent dies at any age, and had earned enough credits to qualify for a Social Security, at least 40 credits. They were fully insured at the time of their death. They had at least 40 credits. The parent dies. The child will get 75% of the parent's calculated Social Security benefit at the time of his or her death until the child turns 18. How about this one? Suppose there's a situation where a child is fully insured but has a parent or parents, mom, dad, or mom and dad. And mom and dad are totally dependent on the child for financial support. Mom and dad don't have any pension income of their own. They're not eligible for Social Security on their own. They're totally financially dependent on the child. The child claims the parent or parents as a tax dependent. And here, the child dies. What is the parent going to get? 75% of the child's calculated Social Security benefit. It's hard. Is that happening in this country? Are parents dependent on children for financial support? Yeah. All of these family members, a spouse, widow benefit, children's survivor benefits, a parent survivor benefit, are eligible to receive the child's up to 75% of the child's calculated benefit at the time of their death. And here's the best part. The child doesn't pay for that. There's no reduction in the child's benefit in order to give these survivor benefits to multiple family members. That's the amazing part. And the last piece of the Social Security puzzle is Medicare. When I say Medicare, I'm really talking about the original Medicare. There are four parts to Medicare: Medicare Part A, Medicare Part B, Medicare Part C, Medicare Part D. The original Medicare, Medicare Part A and Part B, started in 1965. And all federal employees pay into Medicare. It used to be that under the old system, CSRS employees did not pay into Medicare Part A. I know when I came into the government in the early 70s, we did not pay into Medicare Part A. We started in 1983, but here's the rule, that if you've been paying the Medicare payroll tax, the hospital insurance tax, for at least 10 years, then you're eligible for Medicare Part A as well as the rest of the Medicare parts, Part B, Part C, and Part D, when you're 65. If I have time, I'll talk more about Medicare. I don't know if I have time to talk more about Medicare, but let me just say this. I've been enrolled in Medicare Part A and Part B for almost 3 years now. I'm also enrolled in the Federal Employees Health Insurance Program, and I haven't paid a bill in 3 years. I've not seen a bill from a doctor. Everything's paid 100%. And I know I get a lot of questions from federal retirees. Ed, what do I need Medicare Part B for when I have my Federal Employees Health Insurance? If I have time, I'll answer that question. But today's focus is on Social Security. But if you have any questions later on, I'll be happy to entertain any questions about Medicare as well. Okay, now talking about the retirement benefit. I'm going to go through some basic stuff now. I think most of the stuff you know, but I have to review it. I need to review it because last time I did not talk much about the calculation of the Social Security benefit, your Social Security benefit. And I've done a little research. I've done some research about how the Social Security Administration actually calculates the benefits of individuals. And I like to review that. That's why I gave you some worksheets here, because I want to just go through how they do this every year. Because I assume everybody here gets their statement. You get a statement every year? Do you get it in the mail? I hope not. I don't know how your mail is. My mail's stock. It stinks. You know, first of all, if you get it in the mail, you're only going to get it every 5 years. And then one time, the Social Security Administration stopped mailing them out, and when they had some real severe budget problems. Well, a better way to get your Social Security statements is online. Online. And how do you set up your statement online? You go to the Social Security website, www.socialsecurity.gov, www.socialsecurity.gov/ one word, no space, my account. My account. Okay? And you can set up your own account. This way you can look at your benefits 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can look at it every day you want. Okay? Also, and when I say you look at your benefits, they tell you what your calculated benefits are at age 62, your full retirement age, at age 70. They talk about survivor benefits, disability benefits, all the things that you've earned because you're fully insured. They'll tell you if you are fully insured or not, okay? But also, as part of your statements, okay, they tell you what your Social Security earnings are. On page 3 or 4 of your statement, you'll see your history of your Social Security wages. And it's based on your 35 highest years of Social Security wages that the Social Security Administration every year calculates your benefits. Where is Social Security getting the information about your Social Security wages? Off of your W-2. Every February, maybe now it's January, they moved it up. A copy of your W-2 is sent to the Social Security Administration, most likely up in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. That's the closest one. And box 2 of your W-2 shows your Social Security wages. And it's based on your 35 highest years of Social Security wages that Social Security is calculating your benefits. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that Social Security does this calculation every year. When people say to me, Ed, I've reached the maximum monthly benefit I can possibly receive from Social Security, that's totally false. That is totally false. Because let's look ahead to next spring. For those of you who are working this year, is anybody working this year, paying it to Social Security? A few of you, right? Okay, so next January, February, a copy of your W-2 will be sent up to the Social Security Administration in January, okay? And it's going to show your Social Security wages, your Social Security earnings this year in 2018. Now, do you think you earned more in 2018 than you did in 1983? Is there a possibility you earn more this year? So what's going to happen when it comes to calculating your benefit? They're going to throw out the year 1983 and replace it with the wages you earned in 2018. which means when they calculate your benefits will go in which direction? Up. They only can go up. They can't go down. How about trying this one? Suppose you've reached full retirement age. You're earning, you're taking your Social Security. You're still working. Will Social Security recompute your benefits because you're working and you're earning more now that you did 35 years ago? Yes, you'll get a retroactive increase in your Social Security. Ladies and gentlemen, your Social Security benefits can only go in which direction? Up. They can never go down. The more you pay into the system, the more you will ultimately receive. We'll tell you more about that here when we get into the calculation of your benefits. All right. You know, I talked about being fully insured, I don't know if anybody has a statement of earnings and leave. I don't know if anybody's still working. Do you have a statement of earnings and leave? Anybody? Okay. I'm not interested in the numbers there. I'm not interested in the numbers that show up on your LES. But I am interested, if you have one, in the letters that you have on your LES. Do you have any letters on there, in capital letters? Do you have one with you, an LES? Do these 5 letters look familiar? That's called the OTC tax. OTC. This is not a freebie. You have to pay for these Social Security retirement benefits. You have to pay for Medicare. And you do that by paying the payroll tax. OTC. What does it stand for? OA, old age. D, disability. If you're covered by Social Security, and most 90% of occupations in this country are covered by Social Security, you're paying the Social Security tax. A part of your paycheck is going into the Social Security and Disability Retirement Trust Fund. So what is the FICA tax? The FICA tax is 6.2%. 6.2%. And of your gross wages. Now, every year, Social Security puts a cap on the amount of your wages subject to Social Security. It's a cap, a maximum, they call it the maximum wage base. For 2018, if an individual is earning more than $128,400, $128,400, during the year, once they reach $128,400, I know, wishful thinking. We all wish we earned that much, right? Okay? I'm saying that because this is left over. I was doing a seminar. Actually, yesterday I was in Oxford, Mississippi, doing a seminar at the Department of Agriculture, and they went, $128,400. Who earns that? Okay, I talk about Washington. We reached that in October. We already made that up. We made that point. Your employer stops taking out the Social Security tax until the first pay date in January. You're paying 6.2% up to $128,400, and your employer is matching that. 6.2 on both sides. 6.2% for a total of 12.4%. Now, it gets a little complicated if you're working 2 jobs. Suppose an individual this year is earning $90,000 working for the federal government, under FERS, of course, and they have a side job, and they're earning $40,000. Do the math here. 90 plus 40 is $130,000. Will both employers take out the Social Security tax? But I thought the limit is $128,400. The individual paid 6.2% over, say, was that $1,600, over $1,600 of excess wages? 130 less 128, 400 is 1,600. Will the employee get the money back that they paid the excess? How? When? When they do their tax return next spring, there is a tax credit on page 2 of Form 1040. It's called excess FICA. How about the employer? Does the employer get it back? No. Either employer does not get it back. Social Security keeps it. Okay? I have to also tell you of the 6.2%, 5.4% goes to the Social Security Retirement Trust Fund, and 0.8% goes to the Disability Social Security Trust Fund. So that's how you come up with the 6.2%. Okay, so by paying the Social Security tax, you're earning credits. You're earning credits. The 6.2% is taken out of your wages. In 2018, to get one credit of Social Security, you would have to earn $1,320. $1,320. To get your maximum 4 credits for the year, this year, 2018, you have to earn $5,280. 5280. Anybody still working this year? Anybody still working? I have a feeling in my bones here. A few of you earned the $5,280 maybe sometime earlier this year, maybe by February or March. So you got your 4 credits for this year. That's it. Most you can get is 4 credits for the year. So what's happening for the rest of the year regarding your Social Security? Why do you keep paying? Because the more you pay into the system, the more you're going to get. Yes, I did say there's a cap of $128,400. There's a cap. There's a cap of this year of $128,400. I want to give you a preview for next year, because Social Security announced what the amounts are going to be next year. One credit for 2019 will be $1,360, 1360. To get the maximum 4 credits next year, you'd have to earn 4 times 1360, which is $5,340, 5340 to get your maximum 4 credits. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
I'm thinking specifically of women that offer career flexibility and job share or part-time employees.
So you didn't, let's say you didn't, they didn't reach the maximum, let's say, maximum wage base for the year because they were job sharing.
Yes,
right.
They're choosing to work and earn significantly less than they would full-time
Okay.
in a year or 2.
You,
Better to not work at all.
well, no. I never tell people it's not good to work. There are a lot of non-financial reasons that you should work. Okay, nothing with finances. But here's the point. You mentioned the fact that while they, let's say, have small kids, they're working so they can job share. What happens when the kids are older? Will they convert back to full-time? And also I mentioned that what does Social Security do when they calculate the benefits? They're looking at the 35 highest years. So maybe those lower earning years were early in your career. And then after the kids were old enough, you worked for 25 more full-time years, okay, replacing those lower earning years, okay? It's not 35 consecutive years. They're always looking at the 35 highest years. Also, if, let's say a woman, okay, you mentioned woman, I don't, because it works both ways, because you have stay-at-home dads, you got stay-at-home moms. If there's a spouse, and the spouse's benefits are a lot more than the stay-at-home dad or mom. As we're going to discuss also spousal benefits, it is possible that the stay-at-home dad or mom will be better off taking half of the higher earning working spouses. Okay? Okay? Now there's been some changes in the law since I've been here, I think last. There's been some changes in law which I have to go over in terms of how spouses can draw on their lower earning spouse can earn on a higher earning spouses, also ex-spouses. If you are married to somebody for at least 10 years and been divorced from that individual for at least 2 years, and that former spouse of yours has much higher Social Security than yours, you're better off taking half of theirs, okay? Half of theirs. So there are other planning opportunities. Good question. Any other questions before going? The maximum wage base in 2019 will be $132,900, $132,900. They raised it from $128,400, just so you're aware. Now, I want to give you some other statistics here. Should be aware of. We're going to find out in a few moments that you can start drawing your Social Security with no reduction at your full retirement age. What is full retirement age? It depends what year you're born. For people born between 1943 and 1955, your full retirement age is 55. If you're born after 1960, your full retirement age is 67. If you're born before 1938, your full retirement age is 65. And if you're born in between those years, it's like if you're born in 1955, your full retirement age is 66 years and 2 months. They keep, they add 2 months every year as you get closer to the full amounts. Anybody born in 1952? Anybody born in 1952? Okay, first name, ma'am. First name, ma'am? Joyce. Okay. I'm glad you're here today because I'm using this as an example. Not you, Joyce. I'm just using an example. Let's take an individual like Joyce who was born in 1952. And let's suppose this individual paid in for 35 years the highest possible maximum each year. They always reach the cap. They always reach the cap. That is, like this year, they reached 128,400 of wages. They did that every year for 35 years. This comes from the Social Security Administration. The maximum monthly benefit being paid out this year in 2018 for an individual born in 1952, do the math. That person is turning full retirement age this year in 2018. Do the math. Happy birthday, Joyce. Okay? The maximum monthly benefit is $2,690 a month, 2690. That's the maximum being paid out this year for such a person who paid in the maximum for 35 years. Let's go to the other extreme. Suppose there is a person born in 1952 who during his or her lifetime only accumulated 40 credits of Social Security. They became what's called fully insured. To be fully insured, you have to accumulate 40 credits of Social Security. The most credits you can earn in any 1 year is 4, so you have to work a minimum 10 years in Social Security covered employment. Well, the minimum Social Security monthly benefit this year, that's what this person would be under, is $152.19 a month. And you go, Ed, that's so little. I know it's a little, but it's enough to pay for something. Anybody know what that is? Medicare Part B, the medical insurance. Medicare Part B, unlike Medicare Part A, is not free. You got to pay for Medicare Part B. How do most people pay for Medicare Part B? Social Security check. There's a rule out there that the minimum Social Security monthly benefit can never be less than the lowest Medicare Part B monthly premium. I'm going to shoot way ahead here because I have that chart for 2018. I guess this is not working. I'll use this. Way ahead in the slides here, so bear with me 1 second. Look at this chart. Okay. What you pay for Medicare Part B depends on your modified adjusted gross income. These are called the tiers. By the way, that's T-I-E-R-S, not T-E-A-R-S. Don't start crying on me here, okay? Okay? So this is the lowest tier. A single person over age 65 enrolled in Medicare Part B, if their adjusted gross income back in 2016 was less than $85,000, they're paying $134 a month. If a married person filing jointly, their joint income is less than $170,000, let's say both spouses are over 65, each is paying $134 a month for Medicare Part B. What did I tell you the minimum monthly Social Security benefit would be? $152? There's enough money to take this off the Social Security check, right? That's how most people pay for Medicare Part B, and there's money left over to buy coffee at 7-Eleven for the month. So ladies and gentlemen, this is, you know, people say to me, I got 18 credits, I got 20 credits, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's worth it just to go out to get your remaining credits to pay for Medicare Part B, because otherwise you got to pay for Medicare Part B off your out of your checking account. I'm not getting Social Security now. I'm not getting Social Security now. I'm waiting. I am enrolled in Medicare Part B. I had to make arrangements called Easy Pay, where the Social Security Administration takes that Medicare Part B premium out of my checking account. I set it up. It's called Easy Pay. They're very good about this, by the way. Very efficient. On the 25th day of the month, that money comes out like clockwork. Okay? Okay, once you get a Social Security check, they stop taking it out. Let me get back here. Okay? Okay. Sure. Okay, let's get the microphone up there.
The monthly fee is higher than I expected because you mentioned that you still pay for your federal employee health insurance plan.
Yes.
So, are you charged less if you're also taking Medicare, or do you pay the same thing you were currently paying plus another $100?
For the federal employees health insurance?
Yeah.
The OPM, which runs the federal employees health insurance program, does not give you any break in terms of in terms of reducing your FEHB health insurance premiums when you're on Medicare Part B. However, Medicare Part B will pay on average 60 to 80% of your hospital and doctor bills, 60 to 80%. And FEHB will pay the other 20 to 40%, meaning that once you're enrolled in Medicare Part A and Part B, which is primary, and FEHB is secondary, you can really drop down to a lower cost FEHB plan. For example, suppose you're in Blue Cross Blue Shield high option. Go to low option. I have GEHA, Government Employees Hospital Association. I have standard coverage. Why? Because my wife is 63. She's not on Medicare yet, so I have to keep standard. But when she turns 65 in July 2020, I'm going to have her go and then enroll in Medicare Part A and Part B. Then I'm going to switch over to basic. And by the way, you do not have to wait for an open season to change your FEHB plan, because enrolling in Medicare is a life event. You could change it right then and there and start saving some money on your premiums. That's the point. You can start saving. It's cheaper premiums this way with the FEHB. Yes, make sure you get on the microphone.
Is the calculation of the monthly benefit, or is the monthly benefit recalculated every year? In the example that you had on the screen, it was based on earnings for 2016. As those earnings go down, does the premium go down as well? You mean the
FEH? You mean the Medicare?
Medicare, sorry.
They're looking at your tax return every year. Well, actually, it's what I showed you right here. Mm-hmm. I got a notice last December 2017, what my premiums would be for Medicare Part B in 2018. It was based on my 2016 adjusted gross income that comes off your tax return. Why are they using it 2016? They're getting the information from IRS. I haven't filed my 2017 tax return.
Okay. Thank you.
So every year they're looking at what your income is. Now, believe it or not, Social Security and Medicare do have a heart and soul. They do have a heart and soul. Because if your personal circumstances have changed, for example, the year they're looking at, you filed your return as married filing jointly. God forbid your spouse dies. There's no more income coming from your spouse. Okay? You get divorced. No more income from your ex-spouse. So they will modify that premium according to personal, to changes in your life. But you got to contact them.
Good to know. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. All right. Let's talk more about how federal employees pay into Social Security, earn their credits. Was anybody here, I'm going to use the in the past, CSRS? Was anybody CSRS? Old system. Okay. You didn't pay into Social Security, right? Okay. So how do you earn your credits? Moonlighting? Post-retirement income, right. And you can work for an employer. That's what I've done. Well, I did this. I started my business when I was still working for the government. I'm self-employed. You become self-employed. As they say here in Washington, when you retire from federal service, what do you become? A consultant. We have consultants all around the Beltway. We have consultants for consultants around the Beltway, you know. You're self-employed. You file Schedule C. You have income, you have expenses, hopefully you have a net profit. And you can pay your Social Security taxes based on your net profit from your business. Now, there's one slight problem being self-employed. You remember a few moments ago when I talked about paying the Social Security, the FICA tax of 6.2%? As employees, you're paying 6.2%, and who else is paying 6.2%? Your employer. But when you're self-employed, you're on both sides of the aisle. You're paying both sides, 12.4% on your net profit, and you also are paying both sides for Medicare Part A. I didn't mention about Medicare Part A, but Medicare Part A, the hospital insurance is 1.45% of your wages with no cap. There's no cap on Medicare, the hospital insurance. 1.45% of your wages goes to Medicare Part A. But if you're self-employed, it's 2.9%. So you add 12.4, 2.9, that's 15.3%. This is on your net profit. What about federal? You have to pay federal tax on your profit? How about state income tax? It is very, very hard to become self-employed, to be self-employed. You're going to give away almost half of your net profit in the form of taxes and payroll taxes. Okay. I don't know if anybody, you know what serves offset is? It's a combination of the old system and Social Security. Okay. Are the rest of us FERS, covered by FERS, paying it to Social Security? Okay, so you're paying it to Social Security. As I mentioned a few moments ago, there's another way that you can get Social Security. If it turns out that your spouse, you're married, your spouse, Social Security is a lot more than yours, or if God forbid your spouse is deceased, your spouse paid into Social Security his or her entire life, and it may turn out that your deceased spouse's Social Security, the entire amount is a lot more than yours. You could draw on your deceased spouses, or as I'll talk about here in a moment, ex-spouses, and then later on you could actually switch over to yours. I'm going to talk about some planning strategies in terms of widow and widow benefits. If you were married to somebody for at least 10 years, and you've been divorced for at least 2 years from that individual, you're eligible to draw on your ex-spouse's Social Security, half of it, all of it if they're deceased, under one condition, that you do not remarry. If you remarry, you lose the benefit. You lose the benefit. If the ex-spouse is deceased, you actually can remarry, though, after age 60. Age 60. Now, don't take this the wrong way. When I get spouses who are divorced and they ask me what to do, I talk about, they ask me, Ed, my former spouse paid into Social Security for many years and earned a lot more than I did. I was the stay-at-home parent, and my spouse was working constantly, 6-digit finger, and I know that my former spouse's Social Security is a heck of a lot more than mine. You're telling me I'm eligible for it? Yeah, provided you don't remarry. So, but I'm seeing somebody. I said, listen, I'm not Dr. Laura here. I can't tell you, I can't tell you about what's in your personal life. But I need advice. I need advice. What to do? What to do? I tell them, you want advice? You really want to know what to do? Live in sin. Don't get married. Live in sin. Really? Do people do that? Yeah. Go down to Florida. Miami Beach, Boca Raton. You'll see the number of people shacking up just to keep their Social Security checks. But I also want to point out that if you do remarry, and you're married to your new spouse for at least 1 year, it may turn out that your new spouse's Social Security is more than your former spouse's. Then you can get half of your new spouse's because you were married to that person for at least 1 year. I said, really? I said, yeah. Social Security in that sense is like sports. You can trade up your benefits, trade up. Okay. All right. Enough of that. All right. All right. So, if I've gotten through the introduction here in terms of how you get your Social Security, the more you pay in, the more you're going to get, I want to talk about now, I want to answer the question, and I get this question so often. Ed, when should I start receiving my Social Security? When should I start taking it? This question comes up numerous times, okay? And the answer is, generally speaking, it comes down to, 1, your need for income, 2, your health. The earliest age you can start receiving your Social Security is age 62. That is the earliest age. But if you take it at age 62, your Social Security benefit will be permanently reduced. What's the reduction? It depends again on your full retirement age. Full retirement age. If your full retirement age, let's say, is 66, and you took Social Security at 62, your Social Security benefit will be reduced permanently by 25%. 25%. If your full retirement age is 67 and you take Social Security at age 62, your Social Security benefit will be reduced by 30% permanently. Now, this is not an all or none proposition, okay? Suppose somebody's full retirement age is 66 and they took Social Security at 63. Then there'd be a 20% penalty. If they took it at 64, there'll be a 13% penalty. If they took it at 65, there's a 5%, there's like a 6% penalty. In other words, the closer you are to your full retirement age when you start receiving Social Security, the less reduction in your Social Security benefits. Once you reach full retirement age, no reduction when you start taking Social Security. If you start taking Social Security at your full retirement age, there's going to be no reduction. Okay? The Lord taketh away and the Lord giveth. Because there is a good opportunity here to get more Social Security. How? By waiting. If you delay the start of your Social Security past your full retirement age, for every year you wait past your full retirement age, you get 8% more. For example, if Joyce, you wait till you're 67 to start drawing your Social Security, you'll get 8% more compared to what you would get this year when you're 66. Joyce, if you wait to 68, that's another 8% more. If you wait till 69, another 8% more. And finally, age 70, that's it. That's it. That's the last age. You'll get another 8%. So Joyce, what I'm saying to you is, potentially you could get 32% more guaranteed by waiting until your 70th birthday to start receiving your Social Security. Okay? 70% more, 32% more by waiting until 70. After age 70, doesn't pay to wait. As a matter of fact, if somebody has reached his or her 70th birthday and they have not elected to take Social Security, guess what's going to show up in their mailbox the month they turn 70? What do you think is going to show up? A Social Security check. Because Social Security knows that you're not going to get any more by waiting. So they're going to send out the check. Okay? So it's a guaranteed benefit. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I get this question so many times from federal employees regarding their TSP and Social Security. Here they are in their mid to late 60s, and they ask me the question, Ed, What should I take first? My TSP? They're retired. They're retired from federal service. They're not working. Should I take my TSP first, or should I take my Social Security first? You realize at age 70 you're going to get both, whether you like it or not. Why? What happens when you turn 70 regarding TSP? You're subject to minimum required distributions, MRDs. You got to take it out. If you don't take it out, they're going to take it out for you. The TSP will send you the check in December every year if you don't take out your minimum required distribution. And what did I just say about Social Security? If you don't take it at 70, what's going to show up in your mailbox? A check. So I want to throw the question out. What do you think? What should you take first, Social Security or TSP? I agree. Why? You're guaranteed 8% more per year. Are you guaranteed anything with the TSP? Yeah, look at last month. Right? Are you guaranteed anything with the TSP? No. No. Nothing's guaranteed. But Social Security is saying to you, we guarantee you 8% more per year by waiting. We guarantee it. Here's the other reason I think you should take TSP first. As I say, when you turn 70, you're subject to minimum required distributions. That includes both the traditional TSP and the Roth TSP. You've got to take minimum required distributions, both the traditional and the Roth. Yes, ma'am. One second. You got to use the mic.
Yeah, the reason is we're recording.
What happens if you are still working at 70?
You're still
and
working
you,
at 70?
And you have TSP.
Who are you working for?
My same employer.
The federal government?
Yes.
Then you do not have to take minimum required distributions. But if you have other retirement accounts, traditional IRAs, 401ks, you do, but not the TSP. TSP. Okay? TSP.
I think we have another question here.
So I have a quick question. You mentioned the maximum monthly benefit to be $26.90 at age 67. So maximum monthly benefit is $26.90 at age 67.
This
right?
year.
So when you are saying at age 70, that's going to be 32% more than that?
At least, I say at least because there's going to be cost of living
Cost of living.
adjustments going up. And if that person's still working, it's going to add more because they're going to have higher wages and the benefits are going to be recalculated.
So the potential could be anywhere from $300 to $3,200 per month.
Oh,
Potentially.
I mean, I couldn't give you a dollar amount, but it's going to be at least 32% more, at least 1/3 more, let's say.
Okay. All
So
right.
if they're benefited, let's say at the 2,600, let's say 1/3 of that is like almost $900
$35.
more, guaranteed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right, here I
You
go.
got some more questions? I know how to wake people up.
Thank you. Yes, my question is, with this type of scenario,
Yes.
I decide to wait till I'm 70.
Yes.
I have a spouse,
Yes.
and I reach the age, let's say, of 69,
Yes.
and I have no more life. Does the spouse get the half of whatever that
You
increase
mean
of
you
8%?
pass away.
Passed away,
So
exactly.
your spouse would be eligible for all of it.
At what percentage, though?
Okay, great question. Great question. Everybody understand? Let me repeat the question. This actually happened to a client of mine. This is what happened. Here's the scenario. Have an individual has reached full retirement age and has a spouse, okay? And the individual's Social Security is a lot more than the individual spouse's. So the individual decides, listen, I'm going to take advantage of this 32%. I'm going to wait till 70 to take my Social Security, okay? Now you realize that if the person waits, the individual waits, the spouse cannot draw on half of that of that because he is not drawing. He or she's not drawing. You have, in order for the spouse to draw on half of the other spouse, let's say the higher earning spouse, the higher earning spouse has to be drawing. Well, the higher earning spouse is not drawing, so therefore the lower earning spouse cannot draw in half. Now, the lower earning spouse, if he or she has their own, then they can draw on their own and then wait until the higher earning spouse starts drawing, and then they switch over to half. They can do that if it turns out that half of the higher earning spouses is more than their own. All right. So I had a couple in this situation. The husband was very, very, had very high Social Security, had wages and good Social Security earnings, decided he's going to wait till 70. And we worked this strategy out, the year that he turned age 66, and his wife at that time was 65, and he decided he's going to wait to take his till 70. The following year, she turned 66, started drawing hers, knowing that when he starts drawing at age 70, half of his is going to be more than hers, she'll switch over. We met every year to just review the strategy. So a year ago in May 2017, they come to see me to review the strategy. They drop a bombshell on me. It just came from the doctor. He was diagnosed with cancer. He's 69 years old. He's potentially going to get 24% more at that point. He was diagnosed with cancer. Doctor gave him 6 months to live. What do you think I told him? I told him, there's the telephone. You get on the line and apply for your benefit right now. Right now. Do not wait. I want you to get your first check in July. It's in May. You have to wait like 1 to 2 months to get your first check. Why? I asked, why? Because if I die, my wife will get what I'm supposed to get. I said, what amount? If he were to die at that point, without drawing a Social Security check, what amount would his wife get? What amount would he get? The age that the amount that he would have gotten had he started at 66, or the amount or the enhanced one? That she would have gotten the amount that she would have gotten had he started at 66. In other words, the enhanced benefit was all for naught. So, but because he's applying for his benefit, he got his first check in July. He died in August. And she got all of his check because he received at least one check. That's why I told him, you better get on the line right now and apply for your benefit. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you something. The Social Security Administration, in past years, I've had some good experience with, but now I'm getting some very bad vibes. They got young employees in there who are not being trained properly about explaining to people about their benefits. And financial advisors are under the gun to learn everything they can possibly about Social Security because their clients are asking questions. I say financial advisors. I have a tax practice. Every year I go to a 2-day tax practice. I'm due to go in 2 weeks. Half of 1 day is devoted to Social Security issues. All we talk about is Social Security issues, things like this. So if you have a financial advisor, could be an accountant, it could be a financial planner, please make sure that your financial advisor is totally up on Social Security issues. They owe it to you. Yes, sir.
At age 70, you start receiving Social Security benefits, but you still continue to work, let's say outside the government, so you're paying Social Security still on that job. So you're still receiving the Social Security benefit?
Yep. And your benefits are being recalculated, and you're going to get a retroactive increase in your check to the January. I'm going to give you a true story what happened to somebody about that. I had somebody who was working at 88, started taking their Social Security at 65, and every year, he said, God, why am I getting increases? I'm getting a COLA and then I'm getting another increase? Never understood why. Okay, I'll explain what happened. Yes, sir.
You mentioned that you do not have to apply for Social Security if you wait until you're 70th, the month you turn 70?
Yeah, if you don't apply, they're going to send it to you.
All right, but if you apply, say, the month you turn 70, then presumably you will have at least completed the process. If you want to wait until age 70 to receive the maximum benefits, you can go ahead and apply the month you turn 70.
I recommend that individuals apply 1 to 2 months before they get their first check.
I see. So
Okay, 1 to 2 months.
So a couple of months ahead of your 70th birthday, you should go ahead and apply, and then presumably you will get the maximum check.
And if you apply online, it'll take them days to process your application.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, if you apply in person, it may take them weeks. So I have a website there where I have an address where you can go to apply online. And I highly encourage it. There are some exceptions to that, which I'll tell you who should not apply online. Okay? Any other questions? Okay, get the microphone.
If they're sending you a check anyway, then why apply?
Because the check might get lost in the mail. Okay? That's possible. Social Security recipients have direct deposit of their checks into their bank accounts. Okay? And that's the safest way to do it. Social Security checks have been stolen. Okay? If I have to go on, you don't depend on the mail. You know, on the mail. Okay?
It's the same amount as the maximum. If
Either, you mean in terms of applying online?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same amount. No, there's no fee. It's direct deposit. Okay, I'll take more questions. All right, so the disadvantage again of applying when you're younger is that you're going to get less of a benefit permanently. It's a permanent reduction in your benefit by taking it before full retirement age. Here's another issue you should be aware of. If you decide to take Social Security before your full retirement age, has anybody heard of the Social Security earnings test? Earnings test. Anybody in this room here born in 1956? Anybody born in 1955? 1954? 1953? Listen up. This is for you. Social Security has a rule. You're eligible for the years I mentioned. You are between 62 and your full retirement age. Okay, you are between 62 and your full retirement age is 66 or 66 years and 2 months or 4 months. Okay, if you're born in 1956, your full retirement age is 66 years and 4 months. If you're born in 1955, your full retirement age is 66 years and 2 months. If you're born in 1953 or 1954, your full retirement age is 66 years. You could draw Social Security this year. You're under your full retirement age. Are you still working? Social Security has a rule. You can only earn up to a certain amount this year, wages, without losing any of your Social Security benefits if you were drawing them. How much can you earn without losing any of your benefits? The maximum you can earn this year is $17,040. If you do earn $17,040 and you're drawing Social Security, for every $2 you earn above $17,040, Social Security will take back $1 of your benefit. Trust me, $17,040 is not a lot of money, right? It's not. When can you start earning, you know, as much as you want and draw Social Security and not be subject to an earnings test? The month you become full retirement age. So, Social Security has another earnings test for the year that you become full retirement age. Joyce, could I ask you what month you became? October. Happy belated birthday. Okay. All right. So what does that mean for someone like Joyce? Joyce is turning 66 years this year, 66 years old this year. She turned 66 in October. So Joyce, if you would have started drawing your Social Security, let's say earlier this year in January, and if you would still be working, between January 1st and September 30th of this year, the most you could have earned without losing any of your Social Security would be $45,360. For every $3 you would have earned above that, Social Security would have taken back $1 of your benefit. But effective October 2018, the month you became full retirement age, Joyce, you can draw Social Security, earn as much as you want for the rest of your life. They won't take back anything. Anything. Okay? We're talking strictly earned income, salary, wages, self-employment income. We're not talking about, in terms of earned income, what is not included in our earned income. Interest income, dividend income, capital gains, pension income, that's not counted. Rental income, win the lottery, not counted, okay? I call it the sweat income. You got to earn it. It's not passive income, okay? So that's the earnings test. So if you're younger than full retirement age, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to draw Social Security if you're working full time. That's one issue. I want to give you another scenario where somebody may want to draw Social Security when they're younger than full retirement age. A little bit later, I'm going to talk about children benefits. Let's say we have the following family situation. A parent, let's say an individual started having a family later in life. They got married in their 40s, had a couple kids. By the time they reach 62, the children are 15 and 13. Person decided not to work anymore. So the parent goes out and draws Social Security. Okay, at age 62, with the 25 to 30% reduction because they're under full retirement age, let's say their Social Security check is $1,600 a month. These two children who are under age 18 will get half of their parents' Social Security. Each child will get a check from Social Security of $800. Each child. What should the child do with the money? Don't say spend it. Put it into a college fund. Now, the parent says, well, you know, that's $1,600. I could get $2,000 if I waited to my full retirement age. Maybe I'll not draw it. Well, by that time, when the parent turns 66, how old will the two kids be? One will be 19, not eligible because they're over 18. How old will the 13-year-old be at that point? 17. They're only going to get the check for 2 years because when the child turns 18, they stop receiving the check. So that may be an issue. That may be the issue about why you should draw it before full retirement age. Okay? What's the advantage of waiting? You get more, if we talked about. Is there any disadvantage for waiting to take your Social Security, let's say, past full retirement age? You could die. But you won't need the money in heaven anyhow. Okay? All right. So let's put this to a test here. Let's see if you can understand. I did some number crunching here. I have an individual here who was born in 1956. Okay? Understand, their full retirement age is 66 years and 4 months. The 66 years and 4 months is their full retirement age. They look at their statement and they see from Social Security that they're supposed to get $1,000 a month if they started at age 66 years and 4 months. If they took it at age 62, according to the table, they're going to take a 26.7% reduction. That's according to the Social Security has these tables. 26.7% reduction in their Social Security benefit permanently if they start taking Social Security at age 62. So the way I looked at it is, if they started drawing Social Security at age 62, for the next 52 months, until they turn 66 years and 4 months, if you multiply 52 times $733 a month, you'll end up, the person will end up with $38,116. You notice what I'm ignoring here? those wonderful cost of living adjustments that Social Security recipients get. Like last year, they got 1.9%. The year before that, 0.3%. Wonderful, okay, how they keep up with the cost of living, right? Okay? Okay, so let's go on. On the other hand, if the person started taking Social Security at age 66 years and 4 months, their full retirement age, getting $1,000 a month, how long would it take them to recover the $38,116? So if you take the difference between 1,000 and 733, which is 267, divide 267 into 38,116, you come up with 143 months. So what does this mean in plain English? Anybody want to venture a guess what this means in plain English? No, no. You got to start from 66 years and 4 months, not 62. So what it means is, okay, the break-even point is age 78 years and 3 months. Add 11 years and 11 months to 66 years and 4 months. That'll take you up to 78 years, 78 years, 3 months. What it means is, if the person started taking Social Security at 62, and if the person died before age 78 years and 3 months, they made the right decision. If they lived beyond age 78 years and 3 months, and they started their Social Security at age 62, they made the wrong decision. Okay? Now, obviously, we don't know when we're going to die. And people say to me all the time, Ed, I have longevity in my genes. You do. Have you ever traveled on 495, 270, 66? Yeah. Has anybody ever died on those roads? Oh, yeah. Were they young? Were they middle-aged? Were they old? All the above. We don't know. But the actuaries will tell you that if you're not in good health and do not expect to live to that ripe old age, it doesn't make sense to wait to take Social Security, especially if you're not working, okay? If you stop working. If you are working, remember about the earnings test. Any questions or comments about that? Okay. I'd like to move on and talk about how these benefits are calculated. All retirement benefits are based on one's primary insurance amount. You should be aware about what the Piaa is. What the Piaa is the amount of your monthly benefit in today's dollars at your full retirement age. Whatever your full retirement age is the amount of your monthly benefit in today's dollars. Anybody in this room serve in the military? Active duty time? Any time between 1957 and 2001? Active duty? Okay. Are you aware that Social Security gives extra earnings credits for people who served in the military? Okay. If you're not aware of this, I'm going to ask you to do something. Go to the Social Security website, www.socialsecurity.gov/ no, not slash, forget the slash. Keyword, military service and Social Security. Repeat. Go to the website, socialsecurity.gov, and when you get to the search, key in the words military service and Social Security, because you are eligible to get extra earnings credits. This is above and beyond what your wages were. Extra earnings credits up to as much as $100 a month will be added to your existing, monthly benefit as a result of your active duty service. Okay? Okay? You could get as much as for up to 3 years, which means an extra $300. You could potentially get as much as $300 a month for active duty time. Okay. Now, just be aware of one more thing about that publication. in that publication, they tell you something which is not true. They tell you that you don't have to do anything. The earnings credits were already applied. That's false. That's false. You have to apply for those extra earnings credits. How do you do that? I normally tell you to apply for your Social Security benefits online. Do it online, but not if you're a veteran. If you're a veteran, you have to go down in person to apply for your Social Security benefits and bring with you your DD-214. Your DD-214. That's your record of your active duty time. Okay? Okay? And this way, when they see it, they will apply the benefits. Question? Mike? Yes.
With the military credit, does that also apply if you were a reservist and had active time?
Active duty time, yes, sir. It does. If you're a reservist and you had active duty time, you get credit for active duty time also. Okay? Okay? They changed. Actually, it used to be they didn't, but now they changed the law. But again, you got to go down with your DD-214. Okay? Don't let Social Security say we have already applied the benefit. We already applied the extra earnings. That's not the case. That's what they say in the publication. Not the case. Okay? All right. Now, let's talk about the Piaa. How is the Piaa calculated? Every year, Social Security is doing a calculation. And what are they looking at? They're looking at your averaged indexed monthly earnings. I call it the AMI. The AMI. The AMI. Okay? The AMI. How do they calculate the AMI? Well, go to the handout, which has, I don't have my handout. Why don't I have my handout? I thought I had my handout. Here we go. Okay. There should be a handout. Yes, here it is. Everybody have one of these things? Worksheet? The worksheet, do I see the worksheet? All right. So Social Security every year is looking at this worksheet to calculate your Piaa. Let's look at the worksheet. We have all the way on the left side calendar year. Okay? And for column B, we have the maximum taxable amount. Look all the way down. What do you see for 2018? If you want to put in 2019, you can put an amount in there. For 2019, $132,900. $1,300 and I'm sorry, $132,900. $132,900. Okay? Then we see column C. Column C. Enter your taxable earnings. Now, where do they get that information from? What's going to go in column C? Box 2 of your W-2. Box 2 of your W-2 says Social Security wages. What is box 1 of your W-2? Your taxable wages. You know the difference, right? Let's see this. Let's see if we can understand the difference between taxable wages and Social Security wages. Let's suppose, let's take a nice even number. You're earning $100,000 a year. Anybody contribute to the traditional TSB? Anybody put money into the traditional TSB? Suppose you put $10,000 into the traditional TSB. What are your taxable wages? $90,000. What are your Social Security wages? $100,000. Okay? Contributing to the traditional TSB does not reduce your Social Security wages. They still take, the $10,000 you're putting in there, they're still taking out the 6.2% for both, for Social Security and then 1.45% for Medicare. All right. Let's make it a little tougher. Okay? You pay for health insurance? Are you a participant in the Federal Employee Health Insurance Program? Let's say you pay $3,000 a year for health insurance premiums. $3,000 a year. You're putting $10,000 into the traditional TSB. What are your taxable wages? $87,000. That $3,000 for your health insurance premium you're paying for health insurance is pre-tax, is taken out before all taxes. Pre-tax. It's called premium conversion. What are your Social Security wages? 97,000. As I say, they take it out for all taxes. Federal, state, Social Security, Medicare Part A. So the Medicare wages are being reduced the same way, okay, as Social Security wages. Anybody put money into flexible spending accounts, FSAs? It's all taken out before all taxes. Again, it's going to reduce your Social Security wages, okay? Anybody enrolled in the federal employee dental and vision insurance program? Dental insurance vision program? Those premiums are also taken out pre-tax if you are an employee. Now, if you're an annuitant, they do not take it out pre-tax. They have to take it out post-tax, and from your annuity check. Okay. So your Social Security wages are being reduced as a result of participation in what is called premium conversion, or participating in the FSAs. It is box 2 that goes over to column C. Okay? Column D is the index factor. Understand, and Social Security certainly understands, what you earned in 1983 is not worth as much now because of inflation. So they index the wages by index factors. The further you go back, the larger the index factor. And then finally, what do you see in column E? The indexed earnings. That's column E. It is column E that Social Security is looking at. What are they looking at? They're picking out the 35 highest years of Social Security earnings as indexed. Suppose you don't have 35 years of indexed earnings. Take a loser like me. I paid into CSRS for 32 years. I didn't put a dime in. When you're covered by under the old system, CSRS, you don't pay into Social Security. So for almost 32 years, I had zeros in there. Will they take zeros when it comes to picking out the 35 highest numbers? Yes. They will. They always take 35 years and then add them up. So look up here on the screen. Pick out the 35 highest years and add them up. And you come up with this T sub 35. That's the total of the 35 highest years. And divide that by 420. Why 420? 12 months in a year, 35 years. 35 times 12 is 420. And that's when we come up with this creature called the averaged indexed monthly earnings. I call it the AMI. It is the AMI that controls the show here. Look on the next, let's look on the next screen, okay? Who's born in 1956? First name, who wants to volunteer? First name. Michael, this is for you. Anybody else was born in 1956. This is what Social Security is doing this year to calculate your Piaa. They are taking 90% of the first $895 of your AMI, whatever it is. And at the $895 is called the first bend point. Plus 32% of the next $4,502 of your AMI, plus 15% of the AMI in excess of $5,397. That's the second bend point. Now, those bend points will change every year. 99 times out of 100, they go up. What are they based on? The increase in average national wages. 1 year they went down. What year? 2011, because of the recession. They went down. Anybody in the room born in 1949? Okay, listen up here. I have some bad news for you. Because your Social Security benefits are not as much as they could have been. I'll explain. So Michael, anybody else born in 1956? I did an example here. Suppose your AMI was $1,500. Did the calculation, $1,500. Do the math here, all the math. it turns out that your PIA is $999.10. What is that $999.10, Michael, and anybody else born in 1956? It's the amount of your monthly benefit at your full retirement age, which is 66 years and 4 months. That's 4 years and 4 months away, approximately, in today's dollars. Michael, are you still working? Okay. Which direction will your AME go up? It's going to go up. Is your AME going to go up as you earn higher wages? Well, next year, when Social Security calculates your PIA, Michael, and anybody else born in 1956, they're going to be using the same bend points. But what's going to be more? This guy, this gal, as you continue to work. If somebody's already drawing Social Security, will the AME go up if they're still working? Yes. So last year I got a request. A doctor in Arizona, he works for the Indian Health Service. And his father is a doctor at the VA in California. His father was born in 1930. Still working. So his son asked me, my dad has asked me, his benefits are going up every year. He gets these retroactive increases, and he all of a sudden gets a letter from Social Security in August. Dear Dr. So-and-so, you're entitled to get a retroactive increase back to the previous January. And he never could understand why. He was getting worried that this was a fraudulent thing. So he asked me, could you explain to me how it was? I said, yeah. What I did was, I went back to the year 1992, because that's when his father turned 62, and looked up what you have. I think you may have a copy of this too. What the bend points were in 1992. And I recomputed his AME for the next 27 years. Every year, I went to this whole process by hand. And because as he earned higher wages, I was picking out 35 highest different numbers every time. Recomputed it, and the retroactive increases every year was to the penny. I did it by hand. I did it by hand. Ladies and gentlemen, it was amazing. His son was amazed. This is what Social Security is doing every year. My father thought he was working for nothing. On the contrary, he continues to work. Okay? And they said, and my mother is getting half of his increases too, because he's drawing on half of his. She never paid a dime to Social Security. She was a stay-at-home mom her entire life, never worked. Can't believe it. Can't believe it. So my point is this. You know what year you have turned 62 or will turn 62. The bend points will be fixed then. But your AME will be recomputed will go up every year if you continue to work. Social Security every year pays, well, most years, has cost of living adjustments. Like this coming January, there's going to be a 2.8% COLA for those people who are drawing. And your benefits will also go up by 2.8% internally because of that. Which direction will Social Security be headed in terms of your overall benefits? Only can go up. Don't give me this line, it's not going to be around, it'll be around. You can write that down. I said so. Social Security will be around. Okay. But most importantly, I don't want you to say to me, Ed, boy, I've reached the maximum I can when it comes to Social Security. Totally false. You don't reach the maximum, because as you continue to work, earning higher wages than you did 35 years ago, the benefits will go up. Okay? Any questions? I'd like to talk about the offsets here a little bit. I know this is a sore point with some people. Okay? The windfall. The windfall elimination provision is a reduction in your own Social Security benefit. Who does it affect? Well, before I get into who it affects, I would like to ask those people in this room who been covered by FERS or other retirement systems in which they did pay into Social Security. Because several of you did work in private industry. Did you work in did some of you work in private industry? paid into Social Security? Sure you did, okay? I want to direct my question to those individuals who paid their entire lives into Social Security. Here's my question to you. Do you think it's fair for a person like me, who is a relatively Johnny-come-lately into Social Security? I've only been paying in roughly for the last 22 years. I had some earlier years, I had some minor Social Security wages, not much, high school, college, things like that. I should get a benefit from Social Security that is as relatively high as what you are or what will be receiving when you paid your entire lives? Do you think it's fair? Call me old, call me crazy, call me stupid. But I think this law, the WEP, the WEP, which Congress passed 33 years ago in 1985, is a good law. Because what the WEP is going to do, it's going to reduce, not eliminate, the Social Security benefit of someone who didn't pay their entire lives into Social Security and, this is very important, and, was covered by some type of government pension that they didn't pay into Social Security. It affects CSRS annuitants. It affects those employees who work for states, state employees like police officers, firefighters, teachers, firefighters, so on, who are covered by a state pension in which they didn't pay into Social Security. I'll give you an example of such states. Ohio, Texas, California. There are some cities in which city workers do not pay into Social Security. I'll give you an example. I do many seminars in Warren, Michigan at the Army. City not too far away, Troy, Michigan. City workers are covered by a pension. They don't pay into Social Security. They're affected by the WEP too. Actually, Congress exempted themselves from this law. This is 1983. They're all CSRS. You know what the rationale was why Congress exempted themselves? Please understand, being a congressman is not a lifetime occupation. Yeah, tell me about it. All right, no politics here. Anyhow, it reduces. What's the reduction? I use a 40 to 50% reduction. You're going to lose 40 to 50% of your Social Security as a result of being subject to the full force of the WEP. In order to avoid the WEP, you have to have at least 30 years of what is called substantial Social Security wages. What are substantial Social Security wages? Social Security defines it every year. This year, in 2018, if you're working, you have retired, let's say, from federal service, from the foreign service, you're a CSRS annuitant, and you're working to earn your Social Security wages, Social Security credits, you have to earn at least $23,750 to count this year as a so-called substantial year of earnings. Last year was like $23,000. They increased a little bit each year. But you got to have 30 such years to avoid the full force of the WEP. Full force of the WEP. Any questions? I also want to point out that the WEP does not affect CSRS government employees who continue to work. If you're still in federal service, you're not affected by the WEP until you retire. Yes, ma'am.
When we look at the statement we get from Social Security, have they already figured this out or not? Because that was a lot of math
question.
you had us doing
the
before.
The question is, when you look at your Social Security statements, is the WEP included? Absolutely not. The Social Security Administration has no clue that you are working in a government job of not covered by Social Security. They will eventually find out, okay, and when they do, they will send you a notice. They will send you a notice. I have a good friend of mine, lives in the community. He didn't believe me about that. He started working for the federal government in 1969. Of course, under CSRS, he was an adjunct professor at Johns Hopkins University. He earned his 40 credits. So in the year 2010, he turned 66. He got his full retirement age. He decided, I think I'll draw my Social Security because I'm still working. There's no more earnings test, no WEP, because I'm still working for the federal government. So he saw me a month after he started he got his first check, and he said, hey, Ed, you know that stuff about the WEP you talk about? I don't think you know what you're talking about. I think you better change your script. Because here I'm getting a Social Security check. You know, I'm getting a Social Security check. It's the full amount. They haven't taken anything away because of the WEP. I said, Steve, I know that because you're still working for the government. But here's my prediction: when you retire, that's when they're going to find out, and you're going to be subject to the WEP. He said to me, how are they going to find out? I'm not going to tell them. Okay? Okay? Well, he worked 2 more years. Retired for the next couple of months. He got full checks. He saw me. Change your script. Change it. I said, they'll find out. It takes them a while. 3 months after that, he sees me. He starts running away. He said, they found out. I owe him retroactively from the time I retired. Owe him back. I owe him about $6,000 for the reduction. No penalty, but I got to pay it back. So they will catch up. Yes, ma'am.
So how does this affect reemployed annuitants? Are they considered to be still working for the federal government?
Well, a reemployed annuitant is drawing the annuity.
Correct.
Okay, so therefore they will be subject to the WEP. Okay, as long as they're drawing the pension, not maybe, you know, they're getting their pension, and this would also apply to a phased, let's say a phased annuitant is drawing a pension, because they're getting a pension, that's phased retirement. So if you are receiving the pension, you are going to be a subject to the WEP.
Okay, and then a follow-up question: is there? I've seen on the Social Security statements it talks about a maximum WEP reduction of like $450. Is there in fact a maximum?
Yeah, if you go to the Social Security website and key in the word WEP, there's a table. Depending on what year you turn 62, it will show you the maximum amount of the dollar reduction as a result of the WEP. Just go to the Social Security website, key in the word WEP, and they have a table that shows what is the maximum amount of the WEP depending on what year you turn 62. And the amount of your substantial earnings.
Okay. And another follow-up question: so for people who are affected by this, is it recommended that they apply online or in person?
Here's another example: you should apply in person. I say that because if you apply online, they're going to send you the full check. Eventually, they will catch up and find out that you're covered by CSRS, and then send you a letter probably 6 to 8 months down the road saying, we have determined that you're subject to the WEP, you owe us back money. So make it clear, when I apply for my Social Security, I'm going to do it in person, 1 to 2 months, and I'm going to tell the counselor of Social Security, I am subject to the WEP. Let's start the reduction from day 1. We're not going to do this. Well, give me the full amount, and I'll wait for you to send me a letter. I don't want to pay them retroactively. I want them to start taking out for the WEP right away. So in that case, if you are subject to the WEP, you must be, I recommend, not must, but I recommend highly you apply for your Social Security in person and tell the counselor that you are covered by a pension plan in which you didn't pay into Social Security. Okay?
Thank you.
I think a lot of us changed to the new system in '87.
Oh, well, that's different.
So we might have taken a pension, but then we continue to work.
If you're getting a CSRS annuity component to your FERS retirement, you know, because you are a transfer. You came over especially in 1987. You got more than 30 years of substantial earnings under Social Security. You will not be subject to the WEP. You're not going to be subject to the WEP. Okay? 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 Got another question, Mike.
I'm sorry, but I'm not sure I follow what you just said, because I am one of these people that did apply to the Foreign Service equivalent of the FERS in 1987, transferred over.
Okay.
I retired at the end of 2012. I have 25 years of substantial earnings. I had
not 30 though.
I'm
not
sorry?
30. Not 30.
Not 30. So I would be
how many years under the old system did you have?
11.
Okay.
11. So
Okay.
I do have a old
Yes.
component to my
Yes.
pension.
Yes.
I had a few years of insignificant earnings,
Okay.
college,
Okay.
summer employment.
Okay.
So I would gather by what you've just said earlier that I would be subject to the WEP.
Yeah, because you don't have at least 30 years.
Well, that's right, because I don't have 30 years. I'm subject to the
But-
web.
But I was looking at the example of somebody who came over in 1987, 88, still working as a transfer.
Okay.
Do the math here. They got the 30 years.
Yes, they do.
You went
Yeah.
out in 2012. That's 25 years.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad I got it straightened out. Okay? Straightened out. Okay. Any more questions until I get to the next to the next offset, which is a very, very disturbing thing for a lot of people.
Quick question on the previous subject. So if a working parent dies and the children are getting 50% each, and then the widow remarries, do the children no longer get that 50%?
Oh, the parent dies.
Yeah.
So they get 75%. They get 75%. No, if the surviving spouse remarries, it's not going to take away from the children.
Thanks.
Okay, good question. Okay, good question. All right. Okay, let's talk about the other offset. To introduce the other offset, I have to talk about spousal benefits, because this is what's affected here. Spousal benefits. Spousal benefits. All right. To introduce the subject of spousal benefits, I want to give you an example. My late parents. In 1983, my father turned 65, my late father, and he applied for his Social Security. He had paid into Social Security his entire life. He came back after World War II, worked 36 years as a printer, and his benefit in 1983 was, his Social Security benefit was $1,600 a month. He was very happy, considering his pension for working 36 years was $152 a month with no COLA. And that's what he got to give a survivor benefit to my mother of $86 a month. Imagine, working 36 years, that's what you get. Well, he was very happy. 2 years later, 1985, my mother goes down to apply for her Social Security. This is when she turned 65. She had not paid into Social Security her entire life. She was paying into Social Security when my father was overseas during World War II. He comes home, okay, and about a year and a half after that, I have a sister who was born, and my mother stopped working in the workforce and stayed out of the workforce until I was born, actually until I was in junior high school. Bottom line is, she wasn't paying into Social Security that many years, so when she applied for her benefit in 1985, they told her, your benefit is $375 a month. She said, that's all? And they told her, look at your earnings history. Did you expect more? She said, no, but my husband's currently getting $1,600 a month. Will you please check into this? They did. And they came back to her and said, we made a mistake. We owe you $425. Because half of 1,600 is 800, and 800 is $375 more than, I'm sorry, is $425 more than $375. It's called the dual entitlement law. Because half of my father's was more than hers, she got half of his. So my father's getting $1,600 a month, she gets $800 a month. Then my father died a few years after that. She took over his payment of $1,600 a month, lost the $800. She lost her $800 a month, and then she died a few years after that. That's it. That's the end of the story. Okay, that's how it worked. It's called the dual entitlement law. We have two spouses. Now, that's true for spouses. It's true for ex-spouses. If you were married to somebody for at least 10 years, you've been divorced for at least 2 years, it turns out that your ex-spouse's Social Security is a lot more than yours. If half of your ex-spouse's is more than yours, you can draw on half of your ex-spouse's. There is no limit as far as how many spouses can draw on a former spouse's. The only requirement is you had been married to that person for at least 10 years and been divorced for at least 2 years. Okay? There's another difference between ex-spouses and spouses. Let's go back to my parents. Suppose my father would have said, you know something? I'm not going to draw at 65. I'm going to wait till 70. Because I heard I'll get more if I wait till 70. Now, back in those days, this is the 1980s, delayed retirement credits were 3%, not 8% like they are today. So if he would have waited till 70, 5 years to start taking Social Security, he could have gotten 15% more. People didn't do it in those days. Why not? Does anybody remember interest rates in the 1980s? Interest rates. What were interest rates like? A 1-year CD going to the bank, what were they paying? 16%. You go into the bank, open up a 1-year CD, they give you a T-shirt or a radio or a toaster to go along with it. You want the good old days in the bank, right? My point is, what good is it to lay your Social Security getting 3%? We can go to the bank and get 10 to 15%. Well, whatever he decides not to draw. Okay? If my mother would have gone down to the Social Security office, he wasn't drawing, they would have told her, you can't draw on half of his. They said, why not? Because he's not drawing. Once he starts, you can get half of his, but until then, you can't. That's not true with ex-spouses. The only rule is the ex-spouse has to be at least age 62, and you have to be at least age 62 in order to draw on an ex-spouse's. It makes no difference if the ex-spouse is drawing or not. Yes?
Does it change if you're an ex-spouse and the other spouse has passed away?
It does change because you can get all of your ex-spouses, not just half of it, all of it, as early as age 60.
Even if there's more than one ex-spouse?
Yes. All of you get the same amount. You wonder why the system hasn't cracked yet. Yeah. All right. Now, I'm going to give you an example of financial advisors not knowing anything about Social Security. About 4 years ago, I got a call from a individual, Judy. Judy's a social worker at Children's Hospital. She's worked her entire life. She reached her full retirement age. This is September 2014. She turned 66. She's coming to me for advice. She wants to know whether she should draw her Social Security or wait. Now, she's reached her full retirement age. She's still working. She can draw her Social Security and not be subject to the earnings test. So she comes to my office. I have to ask her a few questions. Do you plan on continuing to work? She said, yes. Well, you realize your own Social Security benefits will go up. In fact, yes, I'm well aware of that. Judy, were you ever married? She goes, yeah. Sort of hesitant a little bit here. She hesitates a little bit. Okay, tell me about your ex-spouse. He is a telemarketing executive. He has earned 6-digit salaries throughout his life. He is 68 years old. You know, my eyes are rolling here. I'm thinking about a strategy. Here's what I'm thinking. Judy, you'll take half of his. It makes no difference whether he's drawing or not, because you are 62, at least 62, and he's at least 62. And then when you're 70, you'll switch over to yours and get 32% more. Delayed retirement credits. This isn't in my mind, but I got to ask her the question. How long were you married to him? Put your feet on the ground. 9 years, 10.5 months. Oh, I fell off the chair. Why couldn't you stay married to him for another month and a half? You know what she told me? Because my lawyer knew nothing about Social Security. My divorce lawyer, no less. I would have sued that lawyer. That's such a basic thing. So, as a result, she can't get half of his. Okay? God forbid he dies. Cannot get all of his. Again, you got to know the rules here. Stay married. Stay married. Okay? All right. Put up for at least 10 years. At least 10 years. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Am I misunderstanding? It sounds like Social Security rewards divorce.
You could say it that way.
So,
I mean, people ask me, what's the best, when I talk to married couples, what is the best strategy for us? Get divorced. if you want to maximize your lifetime benefits. But don't do what a couple did on you know, they got divorced for every year for 10 years and then went to Mexico for 3 months in order to save on taxes. Because they divorced on December 31st, and this way they could file their taxes as single. They did a calculation. Filing their taxes single, it resulted in less taxes compared to filing as married, filing jointly. So they did that for 10 years and got away with it. Until when? Until they went on 60 Minutes to brag about it.
But
Okay.
as a married spouse, I cannot draw on my husband's Social Security until he starts drawing on me. Is that correct? Am I
Yeah,
hearing
but
that
there's
correctly?
another restriction here. There's another restriction. I want to talk about this restriction before I get into the government pension offset. In 2015, Congress changed the rules a little bit. Okay. And it affects spouses and ex-spouses. Let's suppose you're married to someone and both of you have Social Security benefits coming to you. If it turns out half of your spouses, call it the higher earning spouse, half of your spouse's Social Security is more than yours, you can draw on half of your spouse's. Period. No, but he has to be drawing. Has to be drawing. Okay? Has to be drawing. You can't draw. Now you can draw on your own, and then when your spouse draws, then you can switch over to half your spouses. Like yeah, but I think that's an expensive way to go. That's my opinion. Okay? That's expensive, okay? Okay. Now, let's suppose your Social Security benefit, you're the lower earning spouse, is less than half of, is more than half of your spouse's. Your Social Security is more than half of your spouse's. Okay? Under the old rules, if you waited until your full retirement age to start drawing Social Security, okay, you could, and let's suppose your spouse was drawing, you could draw on half of your spouse's, again, assuming your spouse is drawing, and then delay the start of your Social Security until age, let's say 70, and get that 24 to 32% increase. Your benefit is more than half of your spouse's, or your ex-spouse's, and your ex-spouse wouldn't have to draw. You could wait until your full retirement age and draw on half of your spouse's or ex-spouse's, even though yours is more than half of theirs. That was the old rules. Under the new rules, which took effect in 2015, the only way this is going to work, that is, you wait until you're going to wait until full retirement to draw yours and then you get half of your spouse's later, is if you were born before January 2nd, 1954. If you were born before January 2nd, 1954. If you were born after January 1st, 1954, and it turns out your Social Security is more than half of your spouse's or your ex-spouse's, you have to draw yours. You cannot get half your spouse's. Okay? If your spouse dies or your ex-spouse dies, you can get all of theirs. There's no restriction on widow and widower benefits. Okay? No restriction. Okay? Those are the new rules that took effect. Any questions on the new rules? All right. I know I'm running out of time, so I want to talk about the government pension offset. Okay, the government pension offset. Okay? Actually, I want to give you a problem. I'm going to give you a question to think about here, and then we'll go into the GPO. All right. So let's take my scenario. I'm subject to the WEP, as you know, the WEP. I'm married, and suppose I start drawing my Social Security, okay? And with the WEP, with the 40 to 50% reduction, instead of getting $1,000 a month, suppose I end up getting, I will get $500 a month. My wife, Linda, says, you know, since you're drawing, I'd like to get half of yours. Okay? So what is she going to get if I'm getting $500 a month? $250. Then I die. What is she going to get? No, $1,000. You know why? What gets buried with me? The WEP gets buried with me. You know what that means in plain English as far as she's concerned? I'm better off dead than alive. Got it? Okay? Okay? So the WEP only applies when the person's still living, not when they pass away. Let's talk about the government pension offset. The GPO is the last thing we'll talk about, and then I'll take more questions. The government pension offset, the GPO, is a reduction, most likely a total elimination of a Social Security spousal, ex-spousal benefit, widow benefit. It wipes it out. Plain English. I will never see any of my wife's Social Security because I'm a CSRS annuitant. The GPO will wipe out the entire benefit. I'm not going to get it. She's not affected by the GPO because she's not a CSRS annuitant. She's also getting a full CSRS survivor annuity benefit from me. That doesn't affect her Social Security either. She's not subject to the GPO. The only people who are subject to the GPO are the actual CSRS annuitants, those covered by the old system. Or if they work for a state or a city that didn't pay the Social Security, they're affected by the GPO too, just like they're affected by the WIP, the WEP. Okay? It's going to wipe it out. I always tell CSRS annuitants, the only way you're going to get Social Security is you have to go out and get your 40 credits. You're not going to get anything from your spouse's ex-spouse, whether they're living or deceased. You're not going to get any of it because of the GPO. It wipes it out. It wipes it out. Any questions about the GPO? Questioner.
Just clarify, assuming it's federal government, not state government.
No. Any type of
So
government.
teacher, anything.
State, local,
Thank
in
you.
which they didn't, they're covered by a pension plan in which they didn't pay into Social Security. Okay? And there are such states. I got to give you a good story for a change. So I was at the EPA in Cincinnati 2 weeks ago. They're still around, the EPA, believe it or not. They're still around. Okay? I'm happy to report. So an individual who was under CSRS, the old system, for 12 years. She left federal government. She's entitled to a deferred annuity. Her husband is a FERS employee, paid into Social Security his entire life. He's senior executive service, high up, going to get a tremendous Social Security benefit. She's saying to me, Ed, you're telling me that I'm not going to get any of my husband's Social Security because when I get my CSRS annuity, I'm subject to the government pension offset. I said, that's right. She told me she's 61 years old. She's entitled to get that deferred annuity when she's 62. She applies for it, she's going to get her CSRS annuity. Then she says to me, so he got a statement from Social Security that his full retirement benefit is going to be about $2,800 a month. She could get $1,400 a month. So I said, how many years did you work for the government? She said she told me 12. I did a quick calculation. Her CSRS annuity would come out to be about $800 a month for CSRS annuity. I said, I got a solution for your problem. She said, what's that? Ask for a refund of your CSRS contributions. Ask for a refund. This way you won't get the annuity. And this way you'll be able to get half his. Because if half of $2,800 is $1,400, that's more than your CSRS annuity. You're better off taking half of his Social Security rather than getting the CSRS annuity. All you got to ask is for a refund of your CSRS contributions. This way she's not getting the annuity, therefore she's not subject to the government pension offset. Okay? So I say, I'm glad I had a chance to answer that question. All right, I promise you I'd tell you how to apply online. You have this website, oops, here it is right here. Here's the website to apply on, right here at this address right here. Okay, it'll take them days to process your application. If you're going to apply in person, you got to make an appointment by calling this number, 800-772-1213. The best time to call Social Security is later in the week, later in the month. That's the best time to call them. They tend to be less busy at that time. Make an appointment to come in, okay? But you know, Social Security, when God forbid somebody dies, Social Security has to be contacted. The Social Security Administration does not scan the obituary pages of every newspaper around the country, right? They know nothing about your family. When somebody dies, they got to be contacted. Like my neighbor. When he died, no one told, he had bought some life insurance policies, but these life insurance people, he bought the policy, and they lived in, all these people live in the community, didn't tell him to tell his wife that when he dies to contact Social Security to get the benefits rolling. So she came to see me a few days, 3 or 4 days after he died. She said, "What do I need to do?" I said, "You have to call Social Security." "What are you talking about?" "Your 3 kids are entitled to get 75% of their father's Social Security. Social Security doesn't know he died." This was May 25th, when they were supposed to get their first check. In June. Get on the phone. We just made it, okay? Because had she not called them, they would have not gotten that check in June. Another example, I was doing a seminar at a federal agency downtown, one of the museums. Individual sitting in the back saying, "Gee, I didn't know my son can get Social Security." Comes up to me, I said, "What happened?" He says, "Well, my wife, his mother died 7 years ago. No one told me to call Social Security." I said, "How old is he now?" 14. I said, "Call him now. Do it now." He did, but they wouldn't make it retroactive. The son lost 7 years worth of Social Security children's survivor benefits. This is what I mean, ladies and gentlemen, knowing all the things about Social Security. I hope I've given you a few things here to think about, okay? You know, and hopefully, if you have financial advisors, they can also tell you about these things. And keep learning. I'm still learning. I still keep up with all the changes constantly. Got another question?
2 questions, actually. For divorcees who might be interested in calculating whether or not their benefit is less than or exceeds half of their ex-spouse.
Yes.
How do you find that out? Is Social
Okay,
Security
good
going to
question.
calculate
The question is, if you were married to somebody for at least 10 years, divorced for at least 2 years, and you're interested in drawing on half your ex-spouse's, what do you need to do? You got to go down to make an appointment with Social Security. Bring with you your birth certificate, marriage license, and divorce decree. And Social Security will check it out. Okay? Your ex-spouse will not be contacted. It has no effect on their benefits. And Social Security will do the calculation and contact you whether half of your ex-spouse is more than yours. They'll let you know.
Thank you.
Okay.
And a second question, you've mentioned a couple of times that you should apply a month or 2 in advance of when you turn full retirement age, or when you hope to receive?
In general, you should apply 1 to 2 months before you want to get the first check.
Okay, but if But if you applied 2 months before your 66th birthday, then the benefit's going to be calculated not at full retirement, but at
You got to tell them when you want to get the first check.
Okay.
You got to give them a 1 to 2 month notice.
Okay, and then they will calculate it at the age that you are at that date.
Getting that first check.
Okay,
Exactly.
good.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Exactly. I had a question that was sent in. I like how it's titled, Recognized Expert. Here. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't profess to. I mean, all I can tell you is I'm the world's greatest expert. Nobody knows more than I do when it comes to my own opinion. Okay? So could you please help with the retirement benefit questions described below? My name is Tom and Susan's my wife. Tom is a Foreign Service annuitant under the old system, FSRDS. That's the old system. Foreign Service Retirement, D stands for? Disability system. He retired in 2007 and has been working as a contractor for a large consulting firm since then. In the process, he has accumulated 45 plus quarters of Social Security credits, but is not eligible to receive Social Security because of the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset. Okay, stop right there. That's not true. He is eligible to get Social Security. The WEP does not eliminate any type. It does not eliminate his benefit. What does the WEP do? Reduces. There's a difference here. What is the reduction? I use 40 to 50%. The government pension offset, yes, will eliminate the spousal benefit, not his benefit. As part of the couple's financial planning, Tom has taken a reduction in his annuity so that Susan will have a survivor benefit if he passes before her. The question is, will Tom be eligible for a Social Security survivor benefit if Susan, who has never worked a day for the federal government, will soon retire and start receiving Social Security benefit from a private sector job, were to pass away before Tom? Tom will not get any of Susan's Social Security because he's subject to the government pension offset. He will get his Social Security, plus he'll keep his full pension. His pension is not going to be reduced. It's just his own Social Security. Okay. To rephrase the question, if Susan, a Social Security recipient, were to retire and pass before Tom, would WEP and GPO restrictions disqualify Tom from receiving a Social Security survivor benefit? Only GPO, not WEP. Okay. So just the GPO. Okay. So Tom would get his Social Security, but it would be subject to the WEP. Any other questions?
I just wanted to comment on something you said
Yes.
right at the beginning. I went on Medicare when I was 65, and little did I know or realize that most of the doctors I have been seeing for years and years don't take Medicare. So I started paying premiums for Part B, and my coverage really went down to a fraction of what I used to get back. And I would get back from my secondary. So, and it was usually even hard to get that fraction from my secondary because the doctors would have to send the Foreign Service plan all kinds of paperwork to prove that they didn't take Medicare. So not only was I paying a lot more money, but I was also really having a hard time getting any kind of reimbursement. Do you hear this? I mean, did I make some kind of really amazing blunder somewhere?
Well, did you add? I think a lot of times the devil is in the details. And I say that because when someone says to me, oh, my doctor does not accept Medicare, they left out a word. My doctor does not accept only Medicare.
Right.
Okay? Typically what happens when somebody's over 65 and they go to a doctor for the first time, let's say a geriatric specialist, the doctor will say, what insurance do you have? Well, I have Medicare. What else do you have? And the person says, I have nothing else. Doctor will say, there's the door. Because Medicare is not paying everything, and most doctors, and this is the terminology to choose, most doctors do not accept assignment for Medicare. What that means is, if you go to a doctor and you're over 65 and the doctor is charging $500 for the visit, you'll be lucky if Medicare pays that doctor $300. And the doctor says, I want my full $500. Who's going to pay the remaining $200? Well, your FEHB plan. Okay? FEHB plan. Now, my internist says no problem. I take Medicare first, and I know your FEHB plan pays the difference. GEHA does pay the difference. Okay? It's open season. It starts next week. Okay? What you may want to do is to look for a fee-for-service plan, PPO, in which the doctors that whatever your needs are will accept Medicare, knowing that you have this FEHB supplemental health insurance, Medicare supplement, not Medigap, Medicare supplement, okay? Because many of them still do. Fewer and fewer doctors will not take patients who only have only Medicare, because they can't afford to treat them. Okay? I also want you to be aware of the fact that OPM is really changing the whole structure of the FEHB program. OPM has made it very clear. You do not have to sign up for Medicare Part B if you don't want to. You don't have to. But they've let the FEHB companies, they let them do this, that if they have enrollees in their plans who are over 65, annuitants, who have chosen not to enroll in Medicare Part B, that the FEHB company can pay the doctor, their doctors, no more than 15% over what Medicare would pay that doctor. Back to my example. Go to the doctor, charging $500, Medicare would pay $300. If you didn't have Medicare Part B, only FEHB, then the FEHB company would pay the doctor $345. What does the doctor want? $500. Who's left to pay the $155? You are. And people say to me, well, $155 for a visit to the doctor is a lot cheaper than paying $134 a month for 12 months. Why are you signing up for Medicare Part B? I said, you know, you're right. It is cheaper. But if you're going to take that approach that you will sign up for Medicare, that you think it's not worth signing up for Medicare Part B because you're a healthy person, you're going to have to make me a promise that you're going to be as healthy at 75 as you are at 65. You're going to be as healthy at 85 as you are at 65. You think there's a chance you're going to be that healthy? You're going to be going to going to more doctors later on? Because if you want to sign up for Medicare Part B later, when you think it's quote unquote worth it, you're going to pay a penalty. Those monthly premiums for every year you wait to sign up for Medicare Part B will go up by 10% per year. If you waited 5 years, you'll pay 50% more. If you wait 10 years, you'll pay 100% more. Bottom line is, you got to choose doctors that do accept Medicare, and of course, that they accept your insurance. I advise people during open season, when it comes to health insurance, don't look for a plan that has the cheapest premium. That doesn't buy you. That's just part of the problem here. Well, number one, if you find a plan you like, make sure your doctor accepts it. 2, be aware that out-of-pocket costs are going up. Deductibles, co-insurance, co-payments. Okay?
I'm reasonably certain that these 3 or 4 doctors I've been seeing for a long time don't take Medicare at all. Nothing. I mean, I know they're not kidding me about this, and I think that's common in Washington, D.C.
Well, I personally cannot say that. Okay, you got to do your homework. I know it's on, and it's open season now. It's open season. It starts next Monday.
Just on the same subject here, I actually did not understand I didn't understand it as you have said it. I thought that if doctors took Medicare, that if you went to that doctor, they had to accept the Medicare, whatever the ceiling was, and then they had to take that, and they could not charge you more and then charge your insurance company. Is that not the case?
No, it's up to the doctor. In fact, because of that, because many doctors do not accept assignment, that's the key word, they do not accept assignment for Medicare, there are fewer geriatric specialists now. That means that Medicare is not going to pay what they're asking. They'll pay maybe 60% of what they're asking. And they'll say, no, I want my full amount. And if the patient doesn't have other insurance and they can't afford to pay it, the doctor, that's when they say, I'm not going to deal with this Medicare stuff. I'm only going to take patients who have insurance.
Okay, so they don't have to take only the Medicare payment.
No. But how long can they stay in business? If they, you know, here's their attitude. If I only took what Medicare is giving me, and I only have senior, people over 65, how long can I stay in business? Given what I'm paying in malpractice insurance and my staff and so on, I can't afford it. Okay? Okay? So, the key word is only Medicare.
on
Yes,
this. Sorry, don't want to beat this to death, but I'm about to turn 65. I'm struggling with this decision whether to do Medicare Part B. And if you look at, so I was senior foreign service, so, my adjusted gross income is, for me and my wife, it was going to be, I'm going to pay $360 a month for Medicare Part B. So so I was thinking, right now I'm on my FEHB plan, which is perfectly fine. I save, my wife and I are both pretty healthy. So it's true, when I'm 80 and 85, I might not be so healthy, but still, if I make it 10 years without big medical problems, I've saved 40 grand.
You can guarantee that, right?
No, I can't. No, it's a bet. I get you, it's a gamble. But still, haven't I saved 40, let's say I make it to 75 in good health, my wife and I. I've saved 40 grand in Medicare Part B premium.
I hear what you're saying, but what I'm also saying now is that OPM is changing its tune. OPM is only determined to do one thing when it comes to the Federal Employee Health Insurance Program: to keep the premium costs down. They brag every year how they accomplish to keep the costs down. This year, next year in 2019, the premium costs are only going up by about 1.5%. They brag about that. Well, there's a reason they'd love to brag about it. They're keeping the costs down. The government's paying 72 to 75% of the premiums. Okay? The other insurance stinks. The long-term care insurance is in free fall because the government's paying nothing. They don't care about that cost going up because employees are paying the entire amount. Here's my point. The FEHB companies are saying to OPM, you're telling us to keep our premium costs down? Well, we got to make profits. So therefore, we're going to make the employees pay more in the form of what? Co-payments, co-insurance. And if they don't sign for Medicare Part B, we're only going to pay X percent over what Medicare Part B is going to pay. The OPM is not saying anything how co-insurance and deductibles have gone up. They have not said anything about that. They never do, because they know it's the fact.
Ed, one more question?
Sure.
Okay, we have time for one more. It's already 2:30, so.
Do you think it would make financial sense to apply for Social Security so that you can pay for your Medicare?
If you have no other means, I mean, if you're getting an annuity check from the government, they will take it out of your annuity check. They'll take it out of your checking account. I mean, are we talking you can't afford the monthly premium from Medicare Part B? In that case, yeah, it would make sense to do probably just to have you, because you'll have enough Social Security to pay for Medicare Part B. People do that. Yeah, it does make sense.
All right. Well, I want to thank Ed very
Thank you very
kindly. It was interesting. I know that I got a lot out of it. I'm sure everyone else did too. And it's good to see everyone. Thanks for coming out in this pouring rain, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
Ed.
Thank you.